All right, what's going on? This is going to be another driving commentary, driving commentary, you name it. I'm wearing my Jurassic Park shirt. I need a shirt sponsor, yo. I need to get like uniform shirts or something. When I taught school at the charter school, I had the uniform that I wore every day. So when I got a chance to wear a t-shirt, it was rare. Now I only got like 20 shirts. So I know you've seen this Jurassic Park shirt. But anyway, I like Jurassic Park, so I ain't hating. But yeah, so I'm doing this, having this conversation about LitCon, right? And I'm talking to Mr. Rafael Diaz Wagner. He is actually going to be the moderator of the filmmaker, the independent filmmakers panel at Florida LitCon. And he was saying that, you know, the whole event is brilliant. You know, he was saying that, you know, connecting filmmakers with authors is a really good idea, you know. And I told him, you know, the idea came from people complaining about, you know, Endgame and Avengers and all these Marvel TV shows and comic books. And yet, you know, they fail to realize that these are brands. These are brands that are making it to the screen or just expanding to the screen, that they started as comic books, and they have volumes of stories that they're not really using, that they're merging just the good elements to make one really, really good story. Even though when they don't do it literally, that it pisses off the fans, it still comes out something that even pleases the fans, because some of the corny stuff they leave out. Some of the stuff that didn't make sense, they leave out. Some of the things, like, you know, that are gimmies, like Luke Cage's tiara or his bracelets or his chain belt, or just, you know, racist stereotypes, you know, and they leave those out. So they reboot, they update, they interpret. One of the things they call films that are made from books is called the film adaptation. How about that? You don't never really pay attention to when they're giving out Academy Awards or Screenplay Awards, Writers Guild Awards, Actors Guild Award. They always say for the best adaptation. What does that mean? That means you're coming up with the version of the story for a film. You understand what I'm saying? So the story exists, whether it's book, whether it's comic book, whether it's video game, whether it's just in your head or you're talking it, oral stories, right? And then adapted to film. How about that? So all of it is an adaptation, okay? So now I put together a festival, you know, a book film event. I don't even know, you know, I just called it an event, but it could really be called an adaptation summit. You know what I'm saying? Because what we want to do is adapt these stories to either books from film or from books to film, okay? So that's really what it is. And, you know, he's a filmmaker, and he made Attack of the Killer Donuts, which is a B movie. It was a great B movie, and could easily have been on Sci-Fi Channel or one of those. He just got caught up in the mids where Sci-Fi Channel got swamped with Sharknadoes, and they started doing some original programming, and they had moved from such a B movie fest to you know, Sci-Fi Channel is funny, but we give it props because it's still the only channel on the cable networks that's dedicated towards sci-fi. Now, Raphael was saying, and I agree, we were talking about it, was that you know, this would have been a brilliant idea for us as filmmakers, you know, to approach a writer and say, yo, let me take your book. Now that we got Amazon, now that we got Goodreads, and we got all these ideas and suggestions, meet with the author. Say, yo, dude, let me make your book into a film, whether it's for free or if I gotta give them $100, shoot. Even $1,000 is depending on the story and depending on how many books they sold, is worth it, you know, for the amount of people that would be fans and brought to your film, and the ability for you to use that into a proposal. amazing. And it benefits the writer too. The writer, books are like films. It's rare that books go classic, right? Rare that books stay on the shelf for longer than a year, or they take off. Sure, it takes a good book, sometimes more than a few months to really take off, but most books, they're gone in a few months off of the shelves. Independent books are different machine, but still in all, after your book has been out a while, for somebody to come along and say, yo, I want to do something with it, gives your story, gives your book new life. Now, if you didn't do a sequel, now you can do a sequel and come up with a new book with the same characters and the same brand and take it a step further. I don't care if you got 5 books in the series. Now, if some filmmaker comes and does, book 1 on the screen, now you've got legs and you can continue to promote the series. No matter what, there's nothing about a filmmaker making your book, your comic book, your video game into a movie that is going to hurt your brand. Not only, and nowhere is a film, the only version of the story that can ever be told. Are you kidding me? First of all, how many Fantastic Fours have there been on the big screen? Then we'll throw in Roger Corman's Fantastic Four that he made back in the 70s and the 80s. And that was, on the level of, Thor being on Incredible Hulk. It was really cheesy like that. But, so again, there's nothing about making a film of a book that I have seen that could hurt the writer or the book. Because first of all, if the writer's not writing the screenplay and the movie is trash, he doesn't or she doesn't get faulted. If the movie is trash and they didn't, even if they did write it, the interpretation of it is what's going to get trashed. So there's nothing that gets fully trashed in the interpretation of a film. You understand? So there's a no lose situation, no loss situation for the writer and for the book. There was 8 Wizard of Oz before the one that we saw with Julie Garland. All right. And there's been varieties of things all along. Even, Judge Dredd was Sylvester Stallone before it was with Keith, or I can't remember his name, the good Judge Dredd movie. So, I think it's brilliant. I think you have meet with the author, you know what I'm saying? Even if you pay for the meeting, right? You don't pay for the book, you pay for the consultation with the author, right? You get those rights. And now you have the author saying, you know what? I should have did that. I should have did that. If I did this, it would set it up for a sequel. I'm happy I really did that. This was the best part. You get all this amazing feedback that, filmmakers don't get. Now, we can all be arrogant filmmakers. I ended up being a writer. Before I got into writing, directing film, I had worked on 2 films. I was film projects, and I wrote those scripts, and I made them, I produced them. So that was Holler If I Kill You, and that was Gold Digger Killer. Those were films that I wrote on. The Death Pledge, my 3rd film, I directed. You know what I'm saying? However, I'm still considered a filmmaker because I put up the money and it was my story. However, I hired the director, the editors and actors and all that. But yes, I went to Gotham Writing School in New York. I can't remember. I think Gotham Academy or whatever it's called. That's where I went for my for writing my story. So again, I'm just saying all of this because a lot of filmmakers don't think about it. Most people go to film school and they teach you how to edit, they teach you how to light, they teach you how to do sound, they teach you how to frame a picture, but they don't really spend a lot of time on writing a story. You know what I'm saying? So for a new filmmaker to come out and say, yo, I got a hot story. Most of them don't even have hot titles because they don't study titles in film school, okay? So there's something to film school that can be added to, especially if you're going to be an independent filmmaker. If you're just going to get out here and work for a big film company, then you only need to know your role, maybe a little bit of how it relates to other people, but all you need to know is camera. All you need to know is sound. All you need to know is lighting. All you need to know is editing. All you need to know is special effects. You know, all you need to know is framing, directing, right? But if you're going to be an independent filmmaker, you got to know more than that. You got to know all of that. And then you got to know how to write. And writing is a machine and a beast of its own. So what Florida Lit Con is doing and what filmmakers can do is really sit down and go through a local book fair, go through a comic book convention, see the creator-owned properties, talk to these people, or you can come to Florida Lit Con. And I'm not doing this as a campaign for Florida Lit Con, which it definitely is, and it's a commercial, but this is not something that you could only do at Florida Lit Con. Heck, you could do this at any book fair. And for writers, you can go to a film festival and approach a filmmaker and say, hey, let me write a book for you. Most of the time, to write a book for them, it's going to cost more than sometimes they spent on film, and sometimes they over-exaggerate their budgets and they don't necessarily know the value of it. So it may be something that you may just, I don't know how you're going to get the money for it. You may just have to do it out of your own pocket and look at it. Now, writing a film adaptation, writing a novelization really takes a big-time writer to really make money off that, or a writer with following. I wouldn't do it necessarily as my first book unless they let you come out with the book before the movie. All right? But that's another one. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm writing books to film. All right. Peace.